Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another .NET MAUI Community Toolkit stand-up. We've been away for a while. We took a break the last couple months, so it's so good to see everybody again. James, Vlad, how are you doing?
I am doing great. I've enjoyed the summer. I started working for a new project. I had a lot of success, so I'm very happy for the fall and looking forward to the winter.
Hey, congrats, Vlad.
Yeah,
How's
I'm great.
life?
Yeah, it's been a while after our last stand-up, actually. Probably ChatGPT 5 released even uh, when ChatGPT 5 released, and since that moment we haven't a stand-up, but I use GPT-5 probably every day. And I think it was a while we last have a meeting.
Wow, nice. How is it for code? I've always been using Claude since Claude was trained on C Sharp. Is GPT-5 good for
Well,
us?
yeah, I actually experiment with different models because it depends. Some tasks are great done with GPT-5, some tasks are great with Claude, some other like even Gemini sometimes make some good progress. Let's say I'm really see good progress when I used Copilot when I had a problem with my Azure subscription, and it actually analyzed everything that it found my subscription, it found my problem, and it directly solved it for me. So it was a great experience. And after that, if I have any problem with Azure, I will use Copilot. Okay.
That's good
Yeah,
to know.
the crazy one for me is when I can just do a Google search and the AI mode will solve a complicated .NET MAUI problem that can't be solved through Claude or through ChatGPT 5.
Well, yeah,
Nice. Good, Vlad.
yeah. GPT-5 is actually I mostly use GPT-5 because it's in my Copilot subscription on GitHub. So, and actually it's the first model in the list, so I used it
Yeah.
uh, mo- the most
And
often.
the 5 mini is unlimited usage with GitHub Copilot Pro. So the mini version, if you can solve your issues with that, it doesn't hit your limits at all.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, my I had Copilot for free on through GitHub, and it just expired recently. Uh, I'm not sure why. I think that might, or no, they told me because I was a open source contributor or one of the top open source contributors that I got to use it for free. But I guess that was only for a year. But that's okay.
The .NET
I actually have.
Foundation offers it.
Yeah, the last month
Oh,
I even
nice.
found that. Yeah, the last month I even found that there is a limit on that because I reached that. And probably the last month I used AI a lot.
Yeah, I hit the
Yeah,
limit on the 29th this month.
yeah.
You guys are crazy. Well, before we get going, I want to share a big announcement for me. I actually haven't announced this anywhere yet, but I have put in my 2 weeks notice at AWS, and will be transitioning to working full time for myself. So I've been doing consulting on the side for a few years now, and am excited to spin that up for full time work. And the best part is, it gives me more time to work on awesome open source projects like this, because if I'm being honest, the big reason why I haven't been able to contribute much over the last few months was Amazon made me drive to work every day, 5 days a week. And the nearest office to me is an hour and a half drive with no traffic. So I've been kind of hating my life for the last couple months since about July. They made me start driving in 5 days a week. And if you lose 4 hours a day just just to driving, it doesn't leave much time for anything else. So I'm excited to be coming back into the open source world. Hopefully, you'll see me on Twitter and Blue Sky more again. But I'm excited. So
Well,
for the
congratulations.
next couple, hey, thanks. Yeah, for the next couple weeks, I don't really want to do anything. I mean, I'm gonna dive back into the toolkit, work on some more open source stuff, but I just have so many chores around the house that I need to do, life stuff that I need to get back to now that I'm not on the road again. So super exciting, a little terrifying, but very much looking forward to not driving 2 hours a day for no reason, because I just did all my calls on Zoom like I did, but had to do it in the office because Amazon said so. So with that said, let's jump into the agenda today. My screen here. Oh no, I might have to leave. Let's see if this works. I'm on my personal computer now, and this is my first time doing it. So let's see if screen sharing works. Oh, good. All right. So here's the agenda for today. There's not a whole lot in here, and of course I'll share the links in the chat here as we go along. But the first announcement, Vlad, the Vlad, is a .NET Foundation candidate. Tell us more.
Yeah, this year I was nominated for .NET Foundation board, and you have 1 month to vote for me if you think I'm a good candidate for that. So you can find on the .NET Foundation website the board where you can vote for me and 2 other candidates. The only thing that I found that you need to be a .NET Foundation member, and if you not, you need to register for that. George, you can find, and everybody who thinks that I'm a good candidate can find open .NET Foundation website, and there you will find board or elections link where you will find all information.
That's so
Well,
exciting,
I'm definitely
Vlad.
going to vote for you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'll see if I can pull up the link while we're hanging out here on the live stream. But that's a huge deal, Vlad. And ironically, Vlad not having access to this YouTube channel, the .NET Foundation YouTube channel, is the reason why you didn't see any of us in August, because I was on vacation. And only Gerald and I have access to live stream to the .NET Foundation YouTube channel. And unfortunately, Gerald couldn't make it either. So we had scheduled our stand-up for August. Vlad was like, yeah, no problem, I can run it. And I tried to get somebody at the .NET Foundation to give access to Vlad, but nobody's responded back. And it's been something I've been working on for months now. So yeah, Vlad, once you get elected, and everybody vote for Vlad, because you absolutely deserve it. You're amazing. But yeah, once you get elected, we need to get you access to the StreamYard account so you can live stream to the .NET Foundation YouTube channel.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, the next one. So I don't really have anything to show here for .NET 10 yet, because like I said, I haven't done much work or haven't done any work towards it yet. But this is going to be my big focus this month. Is obviously .NET 10 is going to GA next month, and we want to have support ready on day 1. And usually we spin this up in about the July timeline once the preview releases of the new versions of .NET start to stabilize. But apologies, I have a bit of a crazy year. So I'm going to start cranking out work on a branch to update all of our toolkits to .NET 10. The only concerns I have, or the big concern I have, is we used to have internal access to the .NET MAUI library, meaning if something was marked internal on .NET MAUI, we could still access it. The team decided to remove that because honestly, it's the right decision. It made for a bad upgrade process for everybody, because we could access the internals, but you couldn't. And so if we updated to use a new version of MAUI, but you didn't, or vice versa, then everything would be out of whack. And I don't know if anybody ever experienced a missing method exception or weird errors like that whenever we'd push out new releases. A lot of that was due to the fact that we were using internal properties, internal methods that would be changed in new versions of .NET MAUI. So we are no longer having access to that, which is great. But did we catch everything? Gerald did a bunch of work to make sure that everything we had needed access to was made public. And we're going to find out as soon as I flip the switch and start working on the .NET 10 branch. So that's the one big concern I have, but hopefully we have enough time to catch those and get that fixed with the .NET MAUI team in time for November. So fingers crossed, but just a heads up, that could be a blocker if we need the .NET MAUI team to promote something from internal to public. We'll find out. I'll keep you updated as we go. But let's dig into it. I see Morton's here. And so what a better way to kick off than James. I think you added the needs discussion label to this one. Morton's
Yes, I did, yeah.
adding package validation.
Package validation, yeah. Well, essentially, we have a habit of having a lot of breaking changes, and this would allow us to know which changes are going to be breaking before we merge a domain. So when we do open a PR or even build it locally, it will tell us when we make significant changes.
Oh, that's awesome.
It will not just, it's not, and it will also like allow us to find a workaround so that we can avoid the breaking changes by, if you open up the Microsoft document here, they've got some demonstrations where they describe how a breaking change could happen and how you could avoid it by making small changes in the code that prevent the issue. Like, I hate doing this live, but yeah, if you scroll down here, you can see the changes here. Yeah, you can either suppress the error or you can make changes to avoid causing the error.
Yeah, that makes sense. And just some background, and Morton, since you're here, obviously we try really hard that anytime we modify a public API to mark it as a breaking change. But to be honest, our current workflow looks something like this, and it's not great, which is why I'm cool to see this. But we have this breaking change label. And so anything that modifies a public API, we slap this label on it. And then really, after that, it's up to us to remember that the next release, when we go back and see what new PRs we've merged, if there's a breaking change, to bump up the major version number. So it's not a great system. And so really cool to see that there's more of an automated way to do it, albeit we'll probably want to add something into our releases pipeline that adds a check here as well, because we don't do it on purpose, I promise.
There is a start of a PR for that. If you look down near the bottom, there's a validation PR where they've added the required libraries, and it affects the build process itself. In fact, it will invalidate the build if it's a breaking change and you haven't suppressed it. And you can validate it against specific builds. So you could do it against like the current main build, or you could do it against previous versions. And the one main thing with this right now, this is not going to work for local build, because we have to update how we number the local builds from version 1.0 to probably at least the current version. And just maybe add a pre-1 to the ending for local builds in order to fix it.
Interesting. So
Can we simply disable it for local builds and enable it only on for pipelines and releases?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the big place where this needs to be, or where we need to ensure we have this is in our release pipeline, because we don't include our build numbers. I don't think we include our build numbers anywhere in the project.
Actually,
I think those come from the release pipeline, right?
Yeah, actually, the author of this pull request is currently in the chat. Yeah, so he says that it will not break the local build just because we always build the latest version. So it's not like a breaking change. We do not change the version at all.
Okay.
So it assumes that we always have latest version. So we shouldn't have any issues with that. So it
Thank you for
it
that,
will
Mark.
only happen when we update our release number in pipelines.
Nice. Yeah, we'll have
Okay.
to bump this up to the top of the old priority backlog. But I will say, with the .NET 10 release coming in November at least, everything will be a breaking change. So maybe a good time to roll it in will be then.
The good question how the library works, if we actually update the major version, it should accept breaking changes. So it's only for minor version warning or error, right? It should work like I expect it to work like this.
That's my assumption too, Vlad.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, because and again, that's what we've been doing manually is just if you spot a breaking change to a public API in a pull request, add the label. But this will make sure we don't miss it. So cool. Yeah, we'll have to, like I said, play around with this a little bit, see if we can get it in a release pipeline. Because the way we do releases is Gerald's our release engineer. He comes in here and he adds a tag, and then that's what gets essentially printed onto the build when our release pipeline pushes out the NuGet package. So yeah, we'll have to figure out a good way to incorporate that so that if, say, Gerald puts a tag on here that is not a major version bump, the build would catch it. But good to know we at least have a starting point. And yeah, thank you so much, Morten, for bringing that to our attention. Because yeah, it's tough, man. it's tough to keep track of all these things, and we definitely don't want to do anything like that on purpose. All right. So the next one I want to chat with you guys about. This one's interesting. So there is a PR here that fixes a bug in camera view, which is a bummer of a crash that happens when you switch between cameras on Windows. So huge shout out for Zhao Tao for fixing this. But along with the bug fix, he also implemented a breaking change and modified the whole way everybody would use camera view. And actually, before I jump into the code, I'm gonna just show you a little bit. Let's see, because actually Sean caught this, and where is it? Was it somewhere in here? Sean calls out. Oh, it must be in the code review. But long story short, there was a change made to the camera view API that essentially adds an initialization method. Let's see if I can find it real quick. Camera view shared. Whoa, what's going on with the browser? Refresh. Okay, well, this is close enough. Long story short, he added an initialize async method, and now that I see it's in camera provider, maybe I can. Yeah, there we go. So adding this new method, initialize async. Let's see, how do I describe this? Essentially, what this does is initialize this available cameras list. So the way I designed camera view when we first pushed this out is that you don't need to call initialization or don't need an initialize method because we'll do that for you. And the only downside is that this read-only list for available cameras had to start out as null because we couldn't initialize the library for you until the handlers were connected, because in there we could call async methods. And so the way it's implemented currently, you don't have to call initialization. If you check available cameras, they should be initialized for you because we do that in the handlers. So unless you're using custom handlers or something crazy, they should be there. But what this pull request did was add this initialize async, and it's not terrible, but I'm getting second thoughts. Let's see if I can find the actual implementation. Yeah, down here. So the thing I don't like about this new process is, well, everybody using camera view has to now call initialize async first, which they currently don't have to do. So we're going to add an additional requirement to our users, which I don't love. But if we look at this, all initialize async does is refresh the cameras. It just essentially just calls the refresh available cameras method, and that's it. So we essentially have two methods, one for refresh available cameras, one for initialize async, that literally do the same thing. And because of that, there's race conditions, so we had to have all these semaphores, and now we're adding semaphores, which means we need to add disposables. So things just got more complicated. So I was hoping Sean would be here to chat about this, but I'll run it by you guys and see if I'm crazy. But I think what I'm going to do is actually decline this PR. I know we've already accepted it, but it was supposed to just be a bug fix. And the bug fix is great. It tested it. It totally works. But this additional API change, it doesn't sit right with me. It doesn't seem right to add this new method that we force the users to call because we're not going to do it for you under the hood anymore.
This feels like too much of a change, like too much of a breaking change that isn't needed. Like it's two methods that do the same thing. I do describe.
Yeah.
That is method actually related to the fix on Windows crash, or is just something another?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's been a while since I've looked at this, so let's jump back to.
Yeah, I saw that PR, but actually I didn't find. I found that something related to Windows, but see that some changes in Android and other camera providers. So I thought that it's not the single issue. So it's actually hard to understand what the author wanted to fix here.
Yeah. So if we jump down to the Windows Camera Manager, I think this is where the fix is. And so, yeah, what I'm thinking is essentially just pull out the actual bug fix so we can get this bug fixed and moved on. But yeah, like you said, Vlad, he added this new API and edited the behavior of every camera provider implementation on every platform. And so, I was working with Sean and we did kind of approve this, and actually this developer did open up a docs PR, so like it's ready. But as soon as I got close to clicking merge on everything, I was like, this doesn't sit right. Let me chat with the team first. So yeah, I also see Morton in the comments says agreed, don't make that behavior change either. So all right, I just want to make sure I wasn't going crazy. Very, very thankful for this PR, but yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll close this and scale it back down just to be the bug fix on Windows, so that we can get this merged. And yeah, maybe there's a better way to do our implementation. But yeah, it does seem silly to have two methods that do the same thing. Okay, cool. Thanks for the sanity check, everybody. What is next on the agenda?
The good that we found from the first PR related to breaking changes, and now we are much closer. We thought which new PR about that.
Yeah, I was looking again at the code changes for the full screen changes, and I do actually have some issues that I do want to specifically bring up if you go to the files changes. Specifically the Windows and Android, I have an event issue where I'm calling Media Manager inside the MAUI Media Element event handler for both Windows and MAUI there. You see there media manager there. That's a breaking change that I don't think is needed. So I'm probably going to have to fix that. But other than that, this has been sitting in the pipeline for about 9 months. And it's already been approved once, but then I made more changes to address issues that were brought up. So this is already like good to go, but I don't like the breaking change at this point. Like I just looked at it this morning. I'm like, oh my god, did I actually put that in there? So yeah, there's that. So we can basically skip this one for now. My bad.
Got it.
I forgot to remove it.
No problem. That's like I said. Sometimes it's sleeping on it. Just that's all you need. So yeah, I was gonna say James. I'll just pop this over to draft so we don't accidentally merge it, since you said it has been through the review process once already. Cool. Good catch. Thank you. All right. And I saw James. This is another new one.
Yes. Well, remember all the issues we've been having with Android Media Element and Media Session and the rich media notifications we've had? We've had a lot of issues where people are reporting, like it doesn't exit when you end, and, we've had disposal issues. Well, I managed to remove nearly half the code in Android for all of that. Like I removed the bind services, I rewrote the service module, and I did it in a way that probably will surprise you, because mainly I fixed all of the issues. I switched from using a service-based model to the actual media session service model, where we used activity with a media control service inside the activity that then talks to the media session service, which hosts the Excel player and hosts the player view. The player view is still in the MAUI media element, but the Excel player and the media session are now moved fully into the service. I removed the reference in the builder to calling the singleton. It's been completely removed, so now it's all Android service module. And so like you can see here, it's all been rewritten. And one of the things it does is it fixes the issue with exiting the page where the media session gets stuck. It also removes all the deprecated APIs we've been using for years, like the player notification manager, the various leftover XO2 player, XO or the Media 2 leftover methods have been completely removed. And if you look,
nice.
One of the things I've done is I rewrote the notification so that it no longer has any requirements for any of the previous methods. So the only thing left over is the service module, which is generally the only, it's completely abstracted. So we don't actually talk to it at all. We talk to the media controller, which behaves almost identically with a few minor tweaks to the events for playback tracking.
Nice, man. Yeah, I saw this. I flipped through this PR on my phone last night, and I saw we're deleting code, which that's the best kind of PR. Like these whole files just blown away. I love that. But this looks great. I haven't had time to actually pull it up on my computer and test it out yet, but
it's still in draft mode. There's one issue with it. Background, because the background when you start it up is the background of whatever the color is of the page, because the handler basically a player view is created before the actual player is created. And they're two separate things that get created. And I pull it in through basically hosting a media controller inside the player view, but that doesn't get constructed until after the handler is finished, if that makes sense. So the background has to be set somehow, and that's just a minor thing, a minor tweak. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you could always maybe try something like just default it to be transparent, and then set it later whenever you get the chance. But that should be Hopefully, hopefully pretty easy, especially compared to all the work you've already done on it.
Yeah. No, I just a matter of fiddling with backgrounds. That's all. That's all I have to do.
Cool. Yeah, let me know when this is done. Like I said, I've
Yeah.
got a lot more free time on my hands now, so yeah, I'll come in here and review this for you, James. Absolutely.
And this is the combination of everything I wanted to do with the media session service. This is essentially everything. Oh, this is kind of a little bit of a sidetrack, but I realized something rather interesting over the last couple of months when I was working on a separate project. That that iOS and Windows already have native support for subtitles if you are using Dash Media or HLS Media. We literally don't need to do anything. They just support it natively, including the buttons. And
Awesome.
The only thing we haven't done is the connection to create custom controls. That can be done separately, though. But in order to enable the same support on Android, it requires less than 10 lines of code. So that would allow us to unify that behavior.
Cool. Good find.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome news. Thank you, James. And actually, that's it for the agenda. Pretty light agenda. I guess we've all been on summer break, but we're diving back into it. Before we call it, anything, Vlad, James, that you want to add, or Morton in the comments, George, Eric, Stefan, thanks for joining us. Anything, Steve, anything you guys want to chat about before we sign off for the day and start cranking away on these PRs?
Yes, there was one thing. I had another thing that was marked as required attention. It was in the a second here. I'll just pull it up a second. Sorry, it's under discussions. Just 1 second here. Yeah, multiple instance a media element. I'll give you a link here. I'll give it to you. I'd love to share my screen. Unfortunately, getting that done on live is not going to happen. I put it in the stream elements.
Sure. I was surprised mine worked, to be honest. Like I said, I'm no longer using a work computer now, so who knows what permissions and stuff I had set up. All right, let's bring... and show my screen again. There we go.
Yeah, the idea right now, one of the issues that we've run into multiple times is with collection view and also with carousel view, we're hosting multiple media elements that are completely independent of each other, have been a real issue for iOS specifically and Mac. And on Windows, we just quietly ignored the fact it sort of breaks after 2 or 3 and just never works. Nobody really cared enough to do that. Like, nobody actually ever brought up. I'm the only person who ever brought it up as a bug report, and then I closed it quietly when I realized it had zero support, even for me to fix it. So
gotcha. That makes sense.
The issue is both. I don't know of any real-world apps that actually have multiple players hosted inside a page where all you do is have multiple players. So that each one of those takes memory. So imagine you have a collection view of, say, 500 videos. You're opening 500 copies of media element. That's just not feasible. So my suggestion is we create a bunch of sample pages showing developers how to use it as a single thing. Because right now, that other PR that I showed you with media session isn't viable unless we decide to only support a single model, because honestly, that's such a huge issue with every single platform we have.
Yeah, it sounds great. I mean, that's something that you could also add to our documentation, kind of like a...
Well, yeah, we would have to update the samples of documentation, yeah. Because that way we don't have to support the whole collection view sample issue. Because that should never really have been a thing at all, period. That's like saying, just shouldn't be a thing.
Or, as Eric says, only 500 instances of media element? Pump those numbers up.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Yeah, good catch, James. I agree with you. I don't think many developers are showing multiple media elements on the screen at the same time, especially on mobile. Like our screens are so small, to jam in all those videos on
Yeah.
one screen is kind of silly anyways. But yeah, that to add some advanced documentation, advanced usage, always love that. People are always asking for that. So yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be cool if you want to do like a PR for the sample app and a PR for the docs. I think that makes a
Yeah.
lot of sense.
I think also I should probably update things like how subtitles are supported natively, because at this point I'm looking at my PR for adding subtitles, and I'm at this point just going to close it because it's a great idea, but the support level required to maintain it, considering I created basically an entire native library and methods to do it. First of all, it isn't really required for 90% of use cases. It's great if you're an end user and want to, host your own personal library and do that, but that's not the majority of people who use MAUI. People who majority use MAUI are going to use things like Dash Media, RTSP Media, which we don't currently support, but like Dash Media, or they're going to use one of the commercial, viable products, and the players already have native support for that. In fact, the last player left is Android, and it's going to require turning the button on and adding 3 or 4 lines of code to the builder for Exo Player.
Got it. Nice. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. Well, Vlad, James, great to see you guys again, and everybody else. Thanks again for joining us. We'll be back next month, and I'll have lots of updates for you on our progress towards .NET 10. And who knows? Maybe we'll have some pull requests merged, and we'll have new releases come out that we'll be very careful with the breaking changes. Just for you, Morton, of course. But thanks everybody, and we'll see you again next month.
Yeah.